I was kind of surprised to hear, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm an optimist, but I was kind of surprised to hear a speech like this from the First Lady, simply because, you know, this is someone who made, I mean, she's the First Lady of the United States. Her husband is the leader of the free world. And it was kind of hard to take with serious legitimacy some of the stuff that she was saying, where she was making herself out to be almost a bigger victim than anybody that she's ever been speaking to. I was taken aback by that, Zoe.
Yeah, and I feel you. I don't know whether to be surprised by it or not. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's amazing. It's like, I'm amazed that you would do this, but I'm not surprised. It's that kind of thing to go back and forth with. But I think in situations like that, in considering where she was speaking, there's this compulsion to qualify yourself. You have to make sure that when you step in that, okay, I've got a black audience, so I have to make sure that they recognize me as authentically black. And the way that I'm going to qualify myself as authentically black is that I'm going to paint myself as a victim, and I'm going to relate to you as a victim. I'm going to make sure that you feel like a victim too. Now we've related. Let's see where we can go from here. Wow,
that is a huge statement on her audience. And that's a really good point that you bring up, thinking that the only way that, I mean, these are college graduates at you know, a historic renowned university, and that the only way that she could, as you were saying, the only way that she could build that bridge of relation is through victimization instead of focusing on all of their shared successes. That strikes me, and it's not the first time that I've seen speakers like the First Lady do that.
Oh, it's a natural thing. Usually, like, say, for instance, if you go into the comedy club, you know, and you have a comedian that's black, the first thing that they want to establish is that, hey, I'm an authentically black comedian, and I'm going to relate to you by let's bring up the mess, let's bring up the struggle, and so on and so forth. I'm down with the struggle. Are you down with the struggle? Well, me too. Okay, great. We've got rapport now, so now I can make you laugh.
You made a really good point too about Booker T. Washington, who founded Tuskegee, and the whole and a lot of the things that he said too. He had warned against that sort of division, that manufactured division, that it seems designed to keep people focused instead of on the things that have accomplished and the doors that have been busted down, focused on just victimization. Speak to that a little bit.
You know, and the thing is that, and it's just like we said about, you know, with Tuskegee, it's like, you're not victims. You know, it's like, I didn't go through all this schooling to be, you know, to get a degree in being a victim. I'm versed in what it is that I've studied. I'm ready to get out there and use my God-given talents to be of good service to this country, to humanity. You know, it's like, can we get beyond this? And it's like, no, we're not victims. If anything, we're survivors. You know, so in this idea also that this is an exclusive experience to us. It's not. You're not going to be able to name too many races that haven't endured oppression. It's not something to be proud of. It's not something that's good. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's not to make light of it or anything like that. But for God's sakes, you know, as other people have endured it, can we stop portraying ourselves as these sissies who are oppressed by someone else? Let's move on. Let's get busy and put ourselves to work.
And maybe speak to some of the other issues that you have also hit. Maybe the First Lady could have addressed, you know, how do we solve the situation of the family? We're having problems with family units. We're having problems with, for instance, when you look at unemployment, you know, across black, white, male, female, you have, I mean, black females have the highest unemployment. Maybe speak to a little bit of that. Maybe the First Lady could do that instead of, and maybe how we could do better in terms of fiscal policy to address that, instead of just saying, you know, yeah, when you know, we feel that sting of that sting of slight, however she had said it. I don't know. Maybe there's a point to that, Zoe. Maybe there's a reason why. And it's not just the First Lady, it's that progressive mentality. Let's focus on our problems. It's like that hurt and rescue tactic in a way.
Sure. You know, and that sting of slight that she's speaking of, you know, that once again, that sends people out into the workforce with a chip on their shoulder. You know, and if you got a chip on your shoulder, and you know, a lot of jobs, you know, they do have it in their own policies that, you know, we can fire without will. We can terminate your employment and they don't need an excuse. So if you have that kind of policy where you go in to work for somebody, don't give them any reason to exercise it. And a lot of times that has to do with a person's attitude.